and it's taking a lot longer than we thought. So we're now at a point now where I think that exciting things are going to happen for some people. Some terrifying things are going to happen for others. So if we look at what's happening, for example, on the chart on the share screen, can everyone see the chart for silver? It's up, yep, there, great. Okay, so silver, for me, when I look at that, I know it's a short-term chart, but it's really starting to build a nice formation upwards. And I did say prior to the call that I'm very, very bullish on silver, always have been. And you know, I'm thinking when is silver going to take off? And I think we're at that week where I believe silver is finally going to do what I've been hoping it would do for the last 5 months. To the point that I think it's time to grab myself a whole heap of metals bundle for two things, because gold and silver's a bit take off, but also too Dacxi has come down nicely to 0.5% US, us Australian actually, which I haven't seen for quite a while. So I think the two are coming together. So to the point where I'll probably tomorrow I'll start buying some metals bundles just to take advantage of where we are right now. But that's just a small part of the picture. When we look at where things are right now, when we look at the Dow, for example, it's been a long-term downslide now for the last several weeks. So it's like since January, early January. In fact, it was my daughter's birthday that it started to slide down. We are getting to a point now, I think, that the Dow is about to have a very hard week, putting it politely. Same thing, I think, with the Australian stock market. It's had the same sort of process, but in some respects, it hasn't done as bad in that it's had this come on down, but not to the same degree as the Dow Jones. But every exchange, no matter where you look in the world, is having a real bad time, particularly Hong Kong. It's see all these gaps. These gaps here indicate there's so much instability in the markets. No one knows where it's going to go. So I think this week we are ready for a massive correction is the word I've used in all the world stock markets. So if we're looking for a safe haven as such, then yes, I really think that the silver and the gold, same pattern. It's the exact same pattern, going up and up. So like the gold where it is right now, for example, it's the longest. Hasn't been that high for quite a while. If I just go to the daily chart, daily, yeah, hasn't been that high over there since June last year. That tells you everything you need to know. It really does. So I'm really excited about gold and silver. I'm very excited about Dacxi being so cheap. So for me, and I'll be quite blunt. I mean, every person that I've signed up into Dacxi this year, all I talk about is the metals bundle, for one reason only, because I can't talk about anything else but metals, because every person I talk to, I want them to be safe. Want them to be secure. and I don't want it coming back on me. So I know that I can quite easily, particularly now that we've got the agreement with ABC Bullion, my confidence level is extremely high with that. When we look at Bitcoin, as we know, it's taken quite a dive. In fact, it's broken out of the latest triangle. So where Bitcoin is going, the next level of support is down here at 32. If I go to the weekly chart, sorry, I'll give you guys a bit more analysis than most would do, because I know it's coming. Next level support there is at 11,000. So there's no real support after 29. There's no support until 11. So yeah, it's very interesting times. Is all I can say. So yeah, I just want to put that out there because I think that next week, based on what I thought was coming months ago, I think we're there now. And as we'd hinted, as I hinted a long time ago, we cashed up ready for opportunities. And I think next week, the next 2 weeks, will be some massive opportunities, just based on where things are right now. That says some things, it leaves some things hidden. If I can't say too much, is what I want to say. But I have a few questions, and I'll give you an answer as honest as I can. So any questions, guys?
I just have a comment, Greg. Thanks for just looking at the graphs a little bit. What was that?
I have to talk about you as well.
Yeah. Oh well, now that's leave that one out for a sec. But
later,
just in terms of graphs and everything, it was quite interesting the other day. I looked at another video of Michael Saylor again, and I think. And that's the important thing to make. He actually spoke about it. Are you an investor, a saver, or a speculator? And when we talk about an investor, we are talking about, I think, at least 3 years plus. And obviously a saver is even more than that in a way. And speculator, they are more looking at short term. And I had quite a number of people purchasing bundles a couple of months ago. But when they purchased, they also knew we were talking about 3, 4, 5 years, at least minimum. It was not something that they even look at, within a month or within a couple of months. And I think, and that's one of the things I like about the Dacxi platform, is that it addresses exactly that, because it's buy and hold, buy and hold. And so, if you're interested in trading, or you are a trader, and my husband obviously is, and he looks more at short-term cycles, then that gets much more, well, just short term really, but long term you can't really do much wrong because of the way of where the market's going. So I think it's always good to stress that point, especially when you're talking to people who are not traders, because we're really looking at long term. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all goes in 3 years' time, because I think whether you buy it now, whether you buy it in, whether you buy Bitcoin now or you buy it in 3 months' time or in 4 months' time, I reckon in 5 years' time we'll be all laughing. And so, the long-term game is very much, well, a long-term game. And so it's important to focus on the long-term vision, and that hasn't changed with Bitcoin, which is great. And I'm super excited also about the bundles. Thanks for mentioning all of that, Brownie, because I think that's very, very exciting, and especially for people who have super funds, that's a very exciting option to diversify some of their funds into, because of the fact that it's pegged to the precious metals price. And that is obviously not as volatile as the normal crypto market. Back to you, Brownie.
Yeah, I mean, just based on super funds. I will say that I had a situation last week. Well, actually, it's been going for a couple of months where I wanted to move some funds off a ledger, and I didn't have the skill to do what I needed to do. And then I spent some time with Dee on Friday, and oh my God, I learned so much. More importantly, I was able to recover some funds that I wouldn't say I lost. I knew I hadn't lost them, but I didn't know how to recover them. So spending
you thought you lost, but you didn't.
They were never lost. I know they're never lost, but I couldn't access them. So to me, they were lost almost. So yes, I was able to move a substantial amount of money, like coins, to an exchange at the right time, shall we say? And yeah, it was just that time spent with you, Dee. You're worth every cent, and more importantly, the knowledge you have is. I mean, I hear you every time. Every time you have a webinar, I mean, I'm going, oh my God, I wish I had her knowledge, because I'm as much as I like doing what I'm doing, I just don't have the skill set you do. And yeah, it was just worth so much to do what we did on Friday, and just get those coins back in a way that I never thought we could. And yes, I will do other things with it. So it's which part of which is to move coins over to Dacxi, because freaking heck, half a cent Dacxi, it's so cheap.
Yeah, good on you, Brownie. That's
I'm going to go hard tomorrow, trust me.
Yeah, and thanks for your for your, is it what do you call a plug? Now, just thanks for mentioning it. As you all know, I mean, I think a lot of the Dacxi community knows me now. I'm pretty much consistently talking about crypto safety, because it's super important. But again, with the Dacxi exchange, you've got it on there. That's just a really safe way of storing them. And Dacxi will improve as they go along, even in terms of what they offer regarding vaulting. They are talking about, as you all know, which is great. So it's not just that it's a safe exchange. They've got also the BitGo custody insurance. They've got A+ security rating. They have regular penetration testing. So they've got ethical hackers trying to hack them. I think they do that quarterly, and after every upgrade. So when it comes to security, they are just very, very aware and very focused on security. So with Dacxi, that's really an excellent exchange to keep your crypto safe. So yeah, I'm happy to partner with those guys for sure.
That's a good point too, because security is so important. I mean, I can't divulge what happened on Friday, but we learned some things about security that we did not know, and what an eye-opener. So don't ever think that having your coins on some overseas exchanges is safe. There's some things going on that, God damn, if it's not in your possession. I mean, the thing I like about, I'll put it this way. When I move coins from an exchange to Dacxi, so like Bitcoin, when I move to Bitcoin, it's in my Bitcoin wallet. It's my wallet, not a pool. It's a wallet, my wallet. Whereas another exchange I won't mention, particularly after I find out what they're like. Yeah, I mean, you don't always know where you're putting your funds. So yeah, it's an eye opener. So
I mean, one thing, Brownie, though, just that's a general. So what Brownie is referring to, that a lot of exchanges pool certain funds in certain wallets, And the reason why they do it is also regarding the gas fees, let's say when we talk about Ethereum, but that's pretty much standard practice, all over the place. And I think when I look at exchanges, I think the most important thing is a sort of custody insurance, really, because in case they do get hacked, and that can happen, unfortunately, then you obviously look at their policy on how they use cold and hot, hot wallet, meaning the hot wallet is actually what's on the exchange, which a good exchange is only 2% of the funds on a hot wallet, which gets traded back and forth, and 98% are actually sitting offline in a cold wallet. And the other thing is, obviously, do they have custody insurance? One thing I'd like to mention is that if you've got really, really large exchanges, sometimes they mightn't even have a custody insurance, but because they are so huge and they make so much dough, when they get hacked, they essentially just transfer the money the next day into customers' account, because they've got so much cash reserve they can back it up with. But most of these are trader exchanges, really, we are talking about. So when you talk about an Australian exchange, obviously Dacxi is ticking all the boxes, and that's that's awesome.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, any other questions, guys? I see there's 36 on board, so any questions? Because
yeah, I got one for you, Brandy.
Here we go. Hello, buddy. How are you?
It's good to see you. Hey, look, I know big companies, not like BlackRock, Fidelity. I mean, their acquisition, or whatever you call it, of Bitcoin's huge. It's probably their number one asset.
Oh, no, yeah.
Sorry.
They're buying up. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Fidelity said they're a Bitcoin first organization, which I hadn't heard before today when I saw that. In terms of the Bitcoin price, you were saying, dropping sort of around or below that support line. Is that what triggers that? Is that because these bigger companies sell off enough to drop the price so they can buy it cheaper, or is it just that they're more the retail market? What's your view?
Look, I think this week is going to be interesting, because we've got a global share market that is on the verge of collapse.
Yep. That's pretty obvious.
The problem I see is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not the biggest problem. It's Tether. Tether is the biggest problem I see.
Yep.
You got Tether at number 3. You got CSDC, as in Stellar's stablecoin at number 6, I think it is now. It's rocketed up. Tether is a stablecoin, and it's designed to, as you sell out of something, you want a safe haven, it goes into Tether.
Yep.
And Tether only has 30% of, and look, I'll go talk to Squid. We've had many conversations. Tether only has 30% of its actual reserves, its asset backing, in cash.
Right.
The other 70% are in property bonds. And guess what? One of the biggest property bond companies they're involved with, Evergrande.
Yeah.
So Evergrande is much. I mean, this is the brownie no holds bar listen tonight. Evergrande is sitting here right now at $1.60, $1.68.
Yep.
Now it is somehow, after this massive crash, it's sustaining itself. Look at that. That's just like, at some stage that is going to collapse.
Yep, of course.
No word for it. You know, along with its other companies attached to it. Yeah, and there's so many property companies in China that anyway, there's others I've got here that are going to collapse. It's going to collapse the global market.
Yep.
You know, there's no Band-Aids off. I'm not going to give you any la story.
Yeah.
We're going to have a massive global crash.
And we kind of knew that was coming, especially with the Evergrande thing. Like later on last year, it's bound to happen.
No, well, the Squid and I thought it was going to happen in bloody October, then November, then December, then January. I mean, it's what's been going on. It's like everything that goes on in the global market, it's all manipulated.
Yeah.
This should have organically collapsed so long ago, but it's dragged on. So, you know, at the end of the day, we're going to have a crash, massive crash. I mean, it's still recording. It's still recording. Oh, bugger it. Yeah. So we're going to have what happened in 1929 is a puppy show.
Yeah.
Compared to what's going to happen. You know, I'm sorry. It's going to happen.
One thing I just quickly jump in there, Brownie, and I think the big thing is that
I know you were itching.
Yeah, no, it's just more for me from my perspective, because I had a chat with someone. We're talking about 2010, where he was like, "When is the whole thing collapse?" And then, you know, my husband Mark said, "Well, no one's got a crystal ball," and that was 2010. We've got now 2022, and it's been. Money has been printed out of thin air for a very long time. It's been taken off the gold standard early 70s. And since then, money is created from debt, and more people are obviously cottoning on to that. But when something is going to happen, no one really knows, because no one has a crystal ball. And I think that's really that's for me, that, you know, what I took from the 2010 conversation with our friend who's been waiting for this to happen. And Robert Kiyosaki spoke about it. So many spoke about it, and they've been speaking for this for years. So when that happens, no one really knows. And for me, I'm just looking more towards what can I do now, and how do I spread my risk? And that is also one of the reasons why a lot of people do look towards precious metals and diversifying, spreading their risk and diversifying their funds through different asset classes. And yes, some of it in cash, but then also have precious metals, crypto, and, you know, some of it people leave in shares, fair enough, and they're on their house, right? So there's a lot of ways to spread your risk over different asset classes, and I think that's a good idea, because if you work towards a very specific time frame or very specific date, I've seen people shouting "cry wolf," I think that's what they say down under here, for a long time, and it hasn't happened. And so for me, I never wait until that time frame. For me, it's you look at things long term, and what still will hold true long term. And precious metals are fantastic, no doubt, and long term crypto will do well, because of everything is going from analog to digital. So I think we'll be seeing, as Andrew said repeatedly, and I agree, this year will be quite volatile, for sure, because of so many different things happening, and literally things coming to a head, but still long-term crypto fantastic, long-term precious metals fantastic, everything else, well, I'm sure in the long run, it'll be volatile this year, that's for sure.
Well said,
And
Good.
snatching up some very cheap Dacxi coins is always a good idea, I reckon.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a big fan of the metals bundle right now, because gold and silver haven't taken off fully yet, and Dacxi is so cheap. So I mean, when I look at the dozen or so people have come on to Dacxi this year, everyone has bought metals. I don't talk about blue chip. I talk about protecting yourself right now, and it's not fear. It's about, everyone knows what's going on. It's about what can I do right now to protect myself, and you know, it's the answer. I mean, and of course, Stella. I mean, I will. If look, I was a chain link fan. I'm not anymore. I'm a Stella fan. I'll put it out there right now to people. I literally sold my last Stella last night. So the last chain link last night. I sold a lot last night, and now it's all in Stella. I'll just leave it there. So it's I mean, and that's me.
Oh, Brownie, do you want to actually stop sharing the screen so we can see our faces that's been on there for a while?
Yeah, sick of seeing you now, Brandy. Go away.
Sorry, mate. Yeah.
I want to see people's faces.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and this is probably the last time I'll be a host, but it's okay. But yeah, I call space spade.
Good on you, Brandy. Thanks for answering that.
Yeah.
Anyone
Anything
else
else,
got
guys?
any questions
Any
for
questions?
Brownie? Or crypto safety for that matter?
Yes.
While we're at it. I'll keep on bugging you guys. Sorry, but that's just in my nature.
No, but even whilst we were together, Dee, you looked at my computer and go, "Oh my God, what are you doing, Brownie? We need to talk about crypto safety." So yes, I'm not perfect. So yes,
No
that's
one is.
right.
No, it's just little things, you know, little one step at a time, and it just makes it a bit safe. It's a little bit like, you know, if you've got a thief and then, you know, trying to get to a car, which car is he going for? The one that's not locked. It's as simple as that. So you just, you know, you lock it, so it's a bit more difficult to get in. It's as simple as that. You put an alarm on top again, then you've got two safety measurements, and that's, you know, they'll just go to another car where they don't have it. So that's essentially how security works. It's always about prevention, and that's why a lot of people's eyes glaze over when I talk about prevention. It's like,
So,
But
Dee, you were
that's
just mentioning alarm on top. Is there, in terms of digital protection, can you actually install software that alerts you to something going on that's suspicious, that's easy to get your hands on?
well, look, there's you know, simple things that you want to have, like firewalls, obviously, but really they honestly, with crypto, two-factor authenticator.
Yeah.
And the beauty is that Dacxi, which I think, you know, I use a number of, and I've used over the year over 10 different exchanges, none of them offer the mandatory two-factor authenticator. And the beauty is, it's not even that you have to put two-factor authenticator on. If you haven't turned it on, every time you log in, Dacxi actually will send you a text, and you have to input it in order to access your account. And that's pretty unique, and that's a really good feature, security feature, that they did that automatically. So if people haven't put their two-factor authenticator on, they're still, through the text, at least they've got a bit more security. But yeah, that's obviously with Dacxi, whenever there's a login, you get an email. That's obviously helpful as well. It's a security feature. But then, you know, just in terms of your own setup, you know, there's antivirus software, there's firewalls. Also, how is your phone set up? There's
Great question, Dee.
the lockdown apps. Yeah.
My firewall subscription web root is just expired. What would, and just asking, what would you recommend as the best virus security software out there?
Well, there is, I'm not much of a fan with packages. I know, you've got Norton and you've got a number of different, I'm not going to name any names. I'm happy to talk to you in private. I'm not going to do that openly. But a lot of people use, let's say Norton, for example, and they offer everything. They even offer VPN. But the reason why I'm not a fan of these type of huge packages, because you give all your data essentially, hand it over to one private entity. I like the idea about compartmentalization, which means they can't connect any of your data points, because there's different companies that are not necessarily connected that you share certain data with. And so it's again, with VPN, I think it's pretty much an open secret that I use NordVPN, and I have been for a very long time, due to the fact that they are, they're registered in Panama, privacy-friendly country, and they have a no logs policy that had been independently audited. And because they're registered in Panama, they can legally abide not to hand out your data because of the privacy. The privacy policies they've got over there. I think that only answers your question half, but that's as much as I'm prepared to.
That was good, actually, understanding the segregation of all these things. That makes a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, we give away too much data. So I get that, really do.
Do we have any Dacxi updates? I believe we've got a leaders call on tomorrow.
Yes, that's
Monday.
right. Yes,
so
if those who are on the call, come on over.
Yeah, if you want to join, I think it's at 8 o'clock. Is it tomorrow? Yes.
So, and then do we have any webinars during the week? Anything that's
yes.
There's two webinars, aren't there, Dee? Yeah, there's additional 2 webinars.
Yes, so Darren Barch will talk about blockchain on Tuesday. So if you want to learn a little bit more about blockchain, then check it out. It's on the Dacxi events page. You can register there. I think Andrew dropped the link today in the community community chat. And yes, tomorrow, Monday, is the leaders call at 8 p.m. Brisbane time. So register for that if you're interested. And Nikki, you've got your hand raised. Nikki, can you hear me? You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that.
It's all right, no problem.
I'm talking away. Also, there's another webinar I saw this morning on Wednesday. I don't know, Andrew put it in the Telegram chat. It happens on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for Australia and 9 a.m. for the UK. Can't remember what that one was on. But Dee, it was just a quick question. So for all of those people that maybe we've signed up as partners who haven't looked at the crypto safety videos, would you say, and who are just on the Dacxi exchange and have got 2FA, would you say that that's enough for the moment until they get their heads around crypto?
Yeah,
it's a good
start. The 2FA is obviously there is hackers who can even hack that, and they even teach how to do that. I haven't looked at it yet, but look, it's a good start. That's pretty much the minimum. But again, that's probably just locking the car. It's certainly not putting the alarm on. And there's a lot of different things. But sometimes it's as simple as, for example, when we look at Dacxi, one of the things I always, not the Dacxi, at crypto, one of the things I always look at is backup. And I'm not just talking about backing up your data. I also mean, what happens if, let's say, you get sick and you end up in a coma for 2 months in a hospital? What happens, with your computer? Can your family access it if they have to do it? So there's there's backup is incredibly important. When you talk about security, always talk about contingency and backup. Again, it's a topic that most people's eyes glaze over. But again, the reason why it happened to me is because I lost once my Mac and lost all the data. And that was the last time I did not have a backup or a backup plan because it hurt. Essentially, I lost not just a lot of data, I lost old photos and a lot of other things that I had obviously connection with. So yeah, that's the minimum. But at the moment, I'm actually working with Giza on a course, a security course. So we go through certain things, and hopefully that'll. I hope I shouldn't have spoiled that, but
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that.
But yeah, so that's something that's in the works. So yeah, and I'm always happy to offer 15 minutes obligation-free call just to see where people's requirements are at and how I can offer my services. So that's always an option. Most people know I'm on the community on Telegram, so you can contact me through there. All
Thanks,
right?
Dee. I'll let
welcome,
people
Nikki.
know. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, should we wrap it up soon because we're 40 minutes in? I think we're pretty good. Yeah. Anything else for Brownie or myself? All right, Brownie, do you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's it. Well, thanks guys for coming on board.
I was just going to say,
that,
Mike has been promoting.
is it Craig? Hello?
Who's speaking? Sorry.
Yep.
Didn't catch you.
No, I think that's it. Okay, so guys, thanks for coming on board. It's a good night as always. Sorry you didn't get to hear Squid's voice, but us two almost as good for our first timers. But yeah, so thanks for coming on board. And next week, I think is going to be an amazing week. Keep your eyes peeled and be alert. Look for opportunities because there's going to be plenty of them.